Gordon with the HTRC's project manager, Gordon Alloway, who's in an exciting conference for folks who are interested in telehealth and mHealth. So, Gordon, could you tell us where you are and give us a sense of what's happening right now?
Well, we're currently in Maryland, right across the Potomac River from Alexandria, Virginia, about 6 miles south of Washington, D.C. proper. And we are in the Gaylord Conference Center meeting on mobile technology. It's the mHealth conference, and the topic overall is connectivity and how to connect to healthcare through mobile devices.
That's exciting. So this is a 2-day summit?
This is a 3-day summit. I came in a day early. They did some educational sessions. The educational session that I wanted to attend was the one regarding app development and how to connect application developers to those who needed new apps. So I did that on Sunday, and then 3 days of meetings, keynote speakers from all the major companies that are involved in connectivity. You'll be glad to hear that the main topics being covered here all deal with communication and how to communicate all this data.
Oh.
There's a hot phrase out there now called big data. Big data simply is referencing the fact that there's an overwhelming amount of data available right now. How do we harness that data and how do we make it useful is really the topic of this conference. So there are many developers here, and hopefully they're getting the message that the data is out there and it can be very useful when it's applied properly. And they need to keep that in consideration when they're developing their mobile apps.
That's exciting. That's exciting.
Well, as the CEO of Verizon said in his keynote speech this morning, this is a huge gizmo demonstration opportunity. There are many people here showing many different devices, capturing any piece of data you could possibly imagine. The question is whether they will develop data that's in a form that's interoperable and can be linked with such things as electronic health records or case management or care management systems. A lot of this is being driven by new regulations that are requiring reduction in readmissions into hospitals. So there's been much discussion about how to keep people healthier, a lot about wellness, a lot about aging in place and caring for our elderly population. At the same time, it's been interesting to see all the new gizmos and gadgets that are now available.
Okay. So the bit about aging in place, what's been the most maybe surprising or fascinating thing about that aspect? Because there's a lot to say about aging in place.
Well, there is, and at the same time, there is nothing totally new being introduced. What is happening more than anything else is now federal regulations regarding reimbursement and regarding improving the quality of care overall are finally bringing this to the attention of the general population, and so it's catching the attention of application developers. So it still comes down to the caregivers at home or the individuals who are in social service agencies and are helping people live at home and stay healthy. That's the front line for aging in place, and it's a matter of helping them be more efficient and more effective, be able to provide a better level of care for these people. But I would say that the core of it is that it's not anything different. It's just managing the information to make us better at what we do and to improve the quality of care.
That's great. That's great. And has there been any surprising or interesting presentations that you've seen, or anything that you think we can anticipate seeing in 2013?
I think what became really obvious is the fact that everything seems to be smartphone driven, that the applications being developed and the desire for mobile apps may have been driven by tablets originally, tablets that were being carried by hospital personnel. But I think that the feeling is that mobility is more easily disseminated, let's say, onto smartphones, since everyone carries a smartphone and not everyone carries a tablet. So I think more and more, and perhaps the smartphones will grow in size. There's some that suggest that we'll all end up with sort of a smart tablet, if you will, which is a smartphone with a larger screen, maybe 6.5 inches, and the tablets will shrink down in size. Perhaps a 7-inch tablet will be the acceptable tablet size, maybe even 6.5 will be the size for both phones and tablets.
Okay.
But a heavy emphasis on smartphones.
Okay. And from our perspective, where we're working with sometimes very rural populations with telehealth, and we've got the Polycom or a similar unit linking rural folks up with medical providers, what kinds of things do you think are coming that you've seen that would be interesting to them, or maybe folks who don't have access to the smartphone?
Well, the truly interesting thing to me has been the fact that mobility can mean different things to different people. So to us, it means facilitating access to care by being able to connect the provider with the patient and have face-to-face interaction. But here, mobility means collecting data as opposed to video face-to-face, and actually pulling data together from many sources and making it easily accessible to the people who need it, whether it be the physician making his rounds, or the nurse, or the case manager, or the technician. But it's been clear that this conference is truly focused on how to manage all this data and make it available to the person who needs it, no matter where they are. And they feel that mobile devices will make it easier for people to collect data and to deliver data in the future. And that our efforts with telemedicine involving video conferencing will be a key part of that, but not the only part. It's all becoming very patient-centric. It's focused on what does the patient need, and getting information, getting a picture, getting whatever is needed by the right person at the right time to provide the best care possible for the patient. And so I'm real excited about the fact that patient health and wellness is at the center of all this.
That's great. That's great. Well, thanks, Gordon.